Welcome to the final episode of the Nickname Stories Behind U.S. States. Let's continue the journey. First up, we have Nebraska, the Cornhusker state. Here's a fun fact. Nebraska's nickname isn't just about corn. It's also a salute to the University of Nebraska's sports teams, the Cornhuskers. So while corn is a big deal, football is an even bigger one. We then zip over to Nevada, the Silver State. This comes from the massive amount of silver extracted from Nevada's mines. It's said that at one point Nevada's silver was so abundant it could pave all the streets of the state. Venturing east, we come to New Hampshire, the Granite State. No prizes for guessing this one. It's named for its extensive granite formations and quarries. Talk about taking your nickname for granted, right? Next, we find ourselves in New Jersey, the Garden State. Despite its urban reputation, New Jersey is a major player in the blueberry and cranberry farming industry. Who knew? We then traverse to New Mexico, the land of enchantment known for its mesmerizing landscapes. It's said that once you experience New Mexico, you never really leave. Our journey takes us to the hustle and bustle of New York, the Empire State. This nickname reflects New York's wealth and resources, which, if it were a standalone country, would rank as the 11th largest economy in the world. Moving south, we land in North Carolina, the Tar Heel State. The nickname comes from the state's historic link to tar production, but these days it's more well known for its barbecue than its tar. We arrived in North Dakota, the Peace Garden State. The International Peace Garden straddles the border between North Dakota and Canada, signifying peace between the two nations. Next, we're heading to Ohio, also known as the Buckeye State. This nickname comes from the state's abundant buckeye trees. But here's a fun fact for you. While the buckeye tree may look harmless, it's actually toxic to humans. However, it seems deer didn't get the memo, as they're often spotted munching on buckeye leaves. Next, we move on to Oklahoma, fondly referred to as the Sooner State. The name Sooner was originally a term used to describe individuals who cheated their way to claiming land during the land races by starting sooner than allowed. Quite an ironic twist to the state's nickname, wouldn't you say? So next time you're in Ohio, remember to admire the buckeye tree from a distance. And in Oklahoma, don't start your race too soon. Moving on, we head to the west with Oregon, the Beaver State. Now, you might think of beavers in Oregon and you'd be right. These industrious creatures were once so abundant here that they were nearly hunted to extinction for their fur in the 19th century. Luckily, conservation efforts have helped their numbers bounce back. The beaver is now not just a state symbol, but a testament to Oregon's commitment to preserving its natural heritage. Next, we journey to the heart of the American Revolution, Pennsylvania, also known as the Keystone State. Now here's a bit of irony for you. Despite its nickname, Pennsylvania doesn't actually produce any natural keystones. The term keystone here is metaphorical, referring to the state's central role in the formation of the United States. Pennsylvania was the middle colony of the original 13 colonies, hence the moniker Keystone State. It was the meeting place for the Founding Fathers, the birthplace of the Declaration of Independence and the U.S. Constitution. So while you won't find any architectural keystones here, you will find a state that has been a keystone in American history. We now venture to the smallest state in the Union, Rhode Island, fondly known as the Ocean State. Here's a fun fact for you. Despite its name, Rhode Island is not actually an island. It does, however, have a lot of coastline for such a small state, hence the Ocean State nickname. The state is dotted with beautiful beaches and historic lighthouses, making it a haven for ocean lovers. Its name is actually derived from the Dutch root island, meaning red island, in reference to the red clay that lined the shore. From beavers to keystones and non-island islands, we've seen it all. Let's see what's next. Now let's venture down south to South Carolina, the Palmetto State. Here's a fun fact. The state owes its nickname to a tree, the palmetto. But don't let its lofty title fool you. The palmetto isn't exactly known for its towering height or Herculean strength. Yet despite its modest stature, it played a pivotal role in South Carolina's defense during the Revolutionary War. That's right, this unassuming tree became a hero, a symbol of resilience against the storm of war. Now let's meander a bit westward to South Dakota, aptly named the Mount Rushmore State. But here's the irony. None of the 4 presidents immortalized in granite on Mount Rushmore were actually from South Dakota. George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Theodore Roosevelt, and Abraham Lincoln, all monumental figures. Yet none can claim South Dakota as their home state. They're just 4 out-of-staters who've managed to find a permanent place in the heart of South Dakota. Talk about making yourself at home. But before we wrap up, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more intriguing content like this. Hit the notification bell to stay updated with our latest uploads. Now let's talk about Tennessee, often referred to as the volunteer state. This nickname originated during the War of 1812, when thousands of volunteer soldiers from Tennessee played a significant role in the Battle of New Orleans. Their bravery and willingness to serve earned Tennessee this honorable moniker. A fun fact about Tennessee is that it's home to the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, which is the most visited national park in the United States, attracting millions of visitors each year to its stunning natural beauty and diverse wildlife. And we head to the south, to the great expanse of Texas, the Lone Star State. But here's where things get a little star-crossed. While Texas may be known as the Lone Star State, a quick glance at the state flag might have you seeing double or triple. That's because there's not just one, but multiple stars adorning the state's flag. So while the nickname might suggest a solitary star, Texas is a state that's more than happy to share its starry status. Who knew trees could be heroes and that lone stars could multiply? Approaching the end of our expedition, we find ourselves in Utah, recognized as the Beehive State. Intriguingly, the beehive signifies the diligent spirit of the locals here. Oddly enough, Utah doesn't possess any indigenous honeybees. That's correct. The Beehive State's name is somewhat misleading. Now we talk about Vermont, the Green Mountain State. Vermont earned this nickname due to its picturesque mountain ranges covered in lush green forests. The name Vermont itself is derived from the French words for green and mountain. A fun fact about Vermont is that it's the leading producer of maple syrup in the United States, with its sugar maple trees contributing to the state's iconic landscape and sweet reputation. Next, we have Virginia, the Old Dominion State. In colonial times, when Virginia was considered the oldest and most influential of the English colonies in the New World, it was also the first state to be permanently settled by the English in 1607. A fun fact about Virginia is that it's home to the world's largest naval base, Naval Station Norfolk, located in Norfolk, Virginia. Let's move to Washington, the Evergreen State. Is known as the Evergreen State due to its abundant evergreen forests, particularly its towering Douglas fir and western hemlock trees. The nickname reflects the state's lush greenery throughout the year. A fun fact about Washington is that it's the birthplace of Starbucks, with the first Starbucks coffee shop opening in Seattle's Pike Place Market in 1971. We are now in West Virginia, the Mountain State. West Virginia earned the nickname the Mountain State due to its rugged terrain and mountainous landscapes, with the Appalachian Mountains dominating much of the state's geography. The state's mountainous terrain has played a significant role in shaping its culture, economy, and history. A fun fact about West Virginia is that it's home to the New River Gorge Bridge, one of the longest single-span arch bridges in the world, attracting thousands of visitors each year for outdoor activities such as whitewater rafting and rock climbing. The Badger State. Wisconsin earned this nickname not because of the presence of badgers, but because of the lead miners who first settled there in the early 19th century. These miners dug tunnels into hillsides to live and work, similar to the behavior of badgers. A fun fact about Wisconsin is that it's known as the dairy capital of the United States, producing over 3 billion pounds of cheese annually and hosting the world's largest cheese market at the Milwaukee Public Market, shifting our focus to its tagged as the Equality or Cowboy State. Were you aware that Wyoming was the pioneer state in granting women the right to vote? That's an interesting trivia to remember. Now, as we wrap up our journey across the nicknames and tales of the US states, we are keen to hear you. Do you have any other nicknames for these states, or do you have an entertaining fact or anecdote to tell about your state's moniker? Share them in the comments section. We are eager to hear your narratives and expand our knowledge about the diverse and intriguing United States. Thank you for accompanying us on this adventure. Keep exploring and stay curious.